My precious chosen one, something has shifted in the spirit realm tonight, and it has your name written all over it. Archangel Michael is weeping for you. Yes, the mighty warrior of heaven, the defender of destinies, the one who stands before the throne of the Most High. He is not silent right now. He is not distant. He is not distracted. He is moved because a wealthy person's final words were about you, and a massive gift has been released in your name tonight. This is not a coincidence. This is not random. This is not a story you clicked by accident. This is a divine interruption. Listen carefully. There was a person of influence, someone who carried resources, power, and authority. Someone whose voice opened doors. Someone whose signature shifted environments. And in their final private moments, when the world was unaware and time stood still, your name came up. Not loudly, not publicly, but intentionally. And when their breath slowed, they whispered something that shook the heavens. They must receive what I prepared. At that exact moment, Archangel Michael stepped forward, because what was spoken was not just about money. It was not just about property. It was not just about material inheritance. It was about destiny transfer. Adam recorded those words, and when heaven records something, it does not erase it. You have been walking through confusion lately, haven't you? Feeling delayed, feeling overlooked, watching others rise while you remain unseen, wondering if your prayers have been misplaced in silence. But what you could not see is that arrangements were being finalized in the spirit. This wealthy person carrying more than wealth. They carried a key connected to opportunities you thought were lost. A key connected to doors that seem permanently shut. A key connected to restoration that your heart stopped expecting. And before leaving this earth, they released it. In your name. Archangel Michael is weeping not out of sadness, but out of intensity. The kind of holy emotion that comes when justice meets timing. When what was delayed is finally authorized. Because you almost gave up. You almost settled. You almost stopped believing that something significant could still happen for you. But heaven never stopped preparing. Right now, there is movement happening beyond what your eyes can detect. Papers are shifting. Conversations are aligning. Hidden approvals are being signed in places you do not even have access to. And the reason Michael is involved is because whenever a transfer like this occurs, there is resistance. There are forces that attempt to block inheritance. Forces that attempt to delay manifestation. Forces that attempt to whisper, "It's too late." But the Archangel does not step aside. He stands guard. He fights for what has your name on it. And tonight, something has been released. You may not see it immediately when you wake up tomorrow morning. It may not knock on your door in physical form within hours. But spiritually, the release has already happened. The wealthy person's final words were not emotional ramblings. They were intentional instruction. And when they spoke of you, it was because they had observed something. Your integrity, your resilience, your quiet faithfulness, your ability to endure without applause. While others performed for recognition, you endured in silence. And heaven noticed. That is why this gift is not a reward for noise. It is a reward for endurance. There are tears in the spirit tonight. Not of loss, but of divine approval. Archangel Michael's weeping carries the weight of a breakthrough that was almost stolen but is now secured. Do you understand what this means? It means what was meant to bypass you will not bypass you. It means what was hidden will be uncovered. It means what was stored up will be located. And the most powerful part, you were not even asking for this specific thing. You were simply trying to survive the season. But God does not only respond to your requests. He responds to your suffering. He responds to your consistency. He responds to your silent battles. Somebody with wealth saw your worth, and heaven confirmed it. Tonight marks the beginning of an unfolding. The gift may manifest as unexpected favor. It may manifest as financial relief. It may manifest as connection with someone influential. It may manifest as an opportunity you thought you missed years ago. But whatever form it takes, it will carry one undeniable signature: divine timing. Archangel Michael is standing at the gate of this transfer, ensuring no corruption touches it. This is why you felt emotional earlier. This is why your spirit felt heavy without explanation. This is why something inside you sensed change. Because something was signed in your name. And this is only the surface of what is unfolding. There is more you need to understand about why this wealthy person chose you, and what the gift truly represents. Beloved soul, what I am about to reveal will change the way you see your current situation forever. You have been interpreting your delays as rejection. You have been calling your silence abandonment. But in truth, you were being positioned. The wealthy person whose final words carried your name had been watching from a distance for longer than you realize. They studied your character when you thought no one noticed. They observed how you handled pressure. They saw how you remained honest when compromise would have been easier. And that observation became the seed of this transfer. This was not emotional generosity. It was intentional selection. Archangel Michael was assigned to oversee this because the transfer is not just financial, it is generational. It is not only about what you will receive, it is about what will flow through you. Heaven does not release massive gifts into hands that will misuse them. There was a spiritual evaluation taking place around you, and you passed without even knowing you were being tested. You wondered why certain opportunities collapsed right before success. You questioned why partnerships dissolved. You could not understand why certain invitations were withdrawn. But those were filters, not failures. Anything that could not handle the weight of what is coming had to fall away. The wealthy person sensed something rare in you. Not perfection, not fame, but alignment. Alignment with purpose. And in their final private hours, when clarity becomes sharp and pretenses fall away, they spoke your name with certainty. They instructed that a portion, significant and undeniable, be set aside connected to you. That instruction triggered movement both legally and spiritually. This is where Archangel Michael stepped in fiercely. Because whenever inheritance shifts, opposition rises. There are people who may feel entitled. There are unseen forces that resist divine redistribution. There are systems that prefer to keep blessings circulating among the predictable. But heaven specializes in unexpected transfers. You were not the obvious choice in the eyes of the world. That is why this will shock some people. And that is also why it will be protected. You must prepare your heart now. Not for arrogance. Not for revenge. But for stewardship. Massive gifts require massive maturity. What is being released tonight carries responsibility. It carries influence. It carries expansion. Your current season of limitation was training. Every time you had to stretch a small amount and make it work, you were learning management. Every time you endured unfairness without becoming bitter, you were learning restraint. Every time you kept faith when results were invisible, you were building capacity. Capacity is what qualifies you for increase. Archangel Michael's weeping is intense because he knows how close you were to walking away from your path. If you had stepped outside your integrity, if you had chosen shortcuts, this transfer might have shifted direction. But you stayed. You held on. And now, the release has been authorized. There will be signs. Subtle at first. A call. An email. An unexpected conversation. A door reopening that you assumed was permanently shut. Pay attention. Do not dismiss small beginnings. Large rivers begin as quiet streams. This is also the moment to guard your mouth. Not everyone needs to know what is unfolding. When heaven moves in your favor, silence becomes wisdom. Let results speak when the time is right. And hear me clearly. This message reached you because you are meant to receive it. If something inside you feels stirred, if your spirit feels awakened, then engage with this moment. Let your agreement be active. Declare internally that you are ready. Also, if this revelation is speaking directly to your life, make your presence known. Like this message so it reaches others who are on the edge of breakthrough. Share it with someone who has been discouraged. Comment with expectation in your words. Subscribe and become part of this growing movement where divine messages are not diluted but delivered boldly. When you engage, you amplify the signal. And what is coming next will deepen everything you just heard. Because there is a hidden detail about this wealthy person that changes everything. Their final words were not just about giving. They were about correcting something that was unjust. And when justice and inheritance meet, acceleration follows. Prepare yourself. What unfolds next will reveal why your name was chosen above others. Chosen one. There is a layer to this story that you have not yet seen, and it is the very reason Archangel Michael is weeping with such intensity over you tonight. The wealthy person who spoke your name in their final moments was not only releasing a gift, they were correcting a wrong. Years ago, a decision was made that indirectly cost you something. It may not have seemed connected at the time. You may have thought it was simply misfortune, bad timing, or someone else being favored over you. But in truth, a door that should have opened for you was quietly redirected. Resources that could have flowed toward you were held back. Recognition that had your name written on it was given elsewhere. You were unaware. But they were not. As the end of their life approached, clarity came like a bright light piercing through fog. Regret service. Not because they hated you. Not because they intended harm. But because they finally saw the full picture. They realized that in protecting comfort or pleasing certain people, they had overlooked the one person whose heart was pure enough to handle what they carried. You. And in that realization, something sacred happened. They chose to repair it. Archangel Michael stepped forward at that very moment because heaven honors repentance that leads to restoration. The tears in the spirit were not weakness. They were the weight of justice being realigned. What had been misdirected was now being redirected back to its rightful path. This is why you felt seasons of unexplained resistance. This is why you sensed you were qualified but constantly bypassed. It was not a reflection of your worth. It was a temporary misalignment that required divine timing to correct. But correction has now been spoken. The final words of this influential person were firm. They instructed that a substantial portion, something significant enough to change trajectories, be released connected to your name. Not symbolically, not vaguely, specifically. This is not about luck. This is restoration. And restoration carries acceleration. When heaven restores, it does not merely return what was lost. It multiplies it. The delay you experienced has built spiritual interest. What is coming carries the weight of accumulated time. Archangel Michael is guarding this transfer fiercely because when injustice is corrected, opposition attempts to reclaim what it lost. There may be whispers around you soon. There may be subtle tension. There may be people who question why you. But understand this clearly. You were not randomly selected. You were divinely validated. The wealthy person saw your consistency over the years. They noticed how you never publicly attacked them even when you felt overlooked. They observed your refusal to slander when others would have. They recognized your restraint. Character speaks loudly in silence. And now silence is being rewarded. You must prepare internally. When restoration arrives, it can feel overwhelming. You may experience disbelief at first. You may question whether you deserve it. That is the residue of past disappointment trying to protect you from hope. But this is not false hope. This is authorized release. The gift may not appear in the form you expect. It could come through legal channels. It could manifest as access to influential networks. It could arrive as financial relief that erases burdens you have carried for years. It could even show up as ownership, partnership, or leadership opportunity tied to their legacy. Whatever form it takes, it will carry confirmation. You will know. There will be an inner witness that says, "This is what was spoken." And when it arrives, humility will be your shield. Gratitude will be your covering. Stewardship will be your assignment. Archangel Michael's weeping also carries a warning wrapped in compassion. Do not allow bitterness from past delays to contaminate what is coming. Do not rehearse old wounds once the blessing is visible. A correction was made. Let it be enough. You are stepping into a chapter that will surprise even you. Tonight marks a spiritual turning point. Something that was held back has been unlocked. Something that was postponed has been signed into motion. And heaven has recorded your name in connection with it. If this message resonates deep within your spirit, respond in faith. Type "Restoration is mine" in the comments if you receive this word. Lesson code 444 is now activated over your life. And as this restoration begins to unfold, understand this: spreading messages like this is not about a channel. It is about souls who are on the verge of giving up, hearing one timely word that pulls them back from despair. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or a PayPal donation listed in the description, you are not funding content. You are planting seeds into hearts across nations. Scripture declares that when you sow beside many waters, you will reap in due season, and tonight that promise is alive over you. As you release your support, you become part of the restoration story for someone else. The same justice correcting your path will correct theirs. This is your moment to act prophetically. Do not scroll past obedience. Step into it. So boldly. And watch heaven respond. Tell me, are you ready to understand what this gift will demand from you next? Faithful one, now you must understand what this gift will require from you, because every divine release carries a divine responsibility. It is easy to celebrate the idea of inheritance. It is exciting to imagine subtle relief, open doors, unexpected elevation. But what most people do not realize is that when heaven entrusts you with something massive, it is not only increasing your comfort, it is increasing your assignment. The wealthy person who spoke your name did not simply see someone in need. They saw someone capable. They saw someone who could carry weight without collapsing under it. They saw someone who would not allow influence to corrupt integrity. That is rare. And that rarity is why Archangel Michael remains stationed near this transition in your life. Because the moment a gift of this magnitude begins to manifest, distractions also begin to multiply. Some distractions will look harmless. New attention. New invitations. New voices offering advice. Some will appear supportive but carry hidden motives. Others will subtly attempt to shape you into a version of yourself that fits their comfort, This is where your discernment must sharpen. The gift being released in your name is not just provision. It is leverage. It will position you in rooms you have never entered before. It will connect you with conversations that shape futures. It will expose you to decisions that influence more than just your personal life. Are you prepared for that? Because preparation is no longer optional. It is urgent. In your previous season, survival was your focus. Paying bills, managing emotions, enduring disappointments. But in this next movement, strategy becomes essential. Vision becomes critical. Discipline becomes non-negotiable. Archangel Michael's presence signifies protection, but it also signifies warfare. Not physical warfare. Spiritual focus. Mental clarity. Emotional stability. You must guard your thoughts carefully in this season. Doubt will try to whisper that this is too good to be true. Fear will try to convince you that you are not ready. But you were prepared in the hidden years. Every silent tear trained your resilience. Every closed door strengthened your patience. Every delay built your endurance. Now endurance transforms into leadership. The wealthy individual's final act was not random generosity. It was a deliberate investment into someone who would multiply what was given. They understood something powerful. Resources in the wrong hands decay, but in the right hands, they expand. You are being trusted with expansion. That means your habits must evolve. If procrastination once felt manageable, it will now become dangerous. If self-doubt once seemed harmless, it will now become limiting. If you once shrank yourself to make others comfortable, the pattern must end immediately. This gift will amplify who you are. Amplification does not create character. It reveals it. So refine yourself now. Spend time in stillness. Clarify your values. Strengthen your discipline. Strengthen your prayer life. Strengthen your boundaries. The next chapter will move quickly, and stability must already exist within you before visibility increases around you. There is also something deeper you must face. Forgiveness. If part of this restoration connects to past oversight or redirection, your heart must remain clean. You cannot step into multiplied influence while secretly rehearsing old grievances. Archangel Michael protects destiny, but he does not carry bitterness for you. Release it fully. The wealthy person's correction was their closure. Your elevation must be yours. Understand this clearly. The gift may not appear overnight in a dramatic explosion. It may unfold in stages. Legal confirmations. Strategic introduction. Financial shifts. Gradual but undeniable movement. Do not despise gradual manifestation. Slow unfolding often signals sustainable increase. There will come a moment soon when you realize something tangible has shifted. A burden lifted. An opportunity solidified. A conversation confirmed. When that happens, resist the urge to panic or overshare. Move wisely. Seek counsel carefully. Protect the seed while it grows roots. And remember why this is happening. This is not simply about you living comfortably. It is about you becoming a channel. There are people connected to your future who will benefit from what you are about to steward. Families will be influenced. Projects will be birthed. Generosity will flow outward. You are stepping into a position where your obedience affects others. That is why heaven waited until you were ready. Archangel Michael's weeping has now shifted into watchfulness. Your release has occurred. The correction has been spoken. The guarding continues. But your participation matters. Will you rise to meet what is rising toward you? Because the next revelation will expose something even more personal. A hidden detail about why your name, specifically your name, was preserved when others were removed from consideration. And when you hear it, you will understand that this was never just about wealth. It was about culling. Steadfast heart, what you are about to hear will settle the final question that has lingered quietly in your mind. Why you? Out of all the names that could have been spoken in those final moments, why did yours rise to the surface? Out of all the capable individuals, all the visible performers, all the strategic networkers, why did the wealthy person choose to connect the transfer to you? The answer is deeply personal. Years before their final breath, there was a moment that seemed insignificant to you but unforgettable to them. A conversation, an interaction, an observation. Perhaps you offered help when there was nothing to gain. Perhaps you spoke truth without knowing who was listening. Perhaps you acted with integrity in a situation where compromise was common. You moved on from that moment. They did not. That single act became a reference point in their mind. It stood as proof of your character. And over time, as they watched others shift with convenience and loyalty fluctuate with benefit, your consistency remained fixed in their memory. Consistency builds trust in silence. As their life progressed and wealth increased, they became surrounded by many who were impressive but not trustworthy, many who were talented but not grounded, many who were ambitious but not anchored. And in contrast, your name carried stability. When the weight of legacy began pressing on them near the end, clarity sharpened. They asked themselves a simple but powerful question: who can carry this without being consumed by it? Your name answered that question. Archangel Michael witnessed this evaluation long before the final words were spoken. The spiritual realm recognized the sincerity behind their decision. This was not emotional favoritism. It was sober discernment. And when discernment aligns with divine timing, protection is assigned. That is why your name survived conversations you never heard. There were suggestions to distribute differently. There were recommendations to redirect. There were logical arguments that would have excluded you. But something overruled those discussions. Peace. Whenever your name surfaced, peace followed. That peace became confirmation. Do you understand what that means? It means you were defended in wounds you never entered. It means decisions tilted in your favor without your lobbying. It means influence was exercised on your behalf without your awareness. This is the hidden mercy of God. You thought you were unnoticed. In reality, you were being preserved. And here is the deeper layer. The wealthy person saw in you a reflection of something they wished they had guarded earlier in their own life. Integrity without compromise. Humility without weakness. Strength without arrogance. In choosing you, they were not only correcting a wrong, they were honoring a value. This is why the transfer carries emotional weight in the spirit. Archangel Michael's weeping was also for the years you endured without knowing why doors kept closing. He witnessed your private prayers. He saw your moments of doubt. He observed when you almost convinced yourself that maybe you were not meant for increase. But destiny does not evaporate because of delay. It waits. Now that the release has been spoken, something within you must shift as well. You cannot continue to see yourself through the lens of past limitation. You cannot shrink your expectations to match old disappointments. If your name was chosen in final clarity, then you must embrace that selection with courage. There will be a transition in how people treat you. Some will sense change before you announce anything. Favor leaves fingerprints. Authority carries an atmosphere. Do not be intimidated by it. Walk calmly. Speak wisely. Move intentionally. The gift being released is not just external. is internal validation. You were not overlooked because you were unworthy. You were delayed because timing was being aligned, and now alignment has arrived. However, there is one more truth you must prepare for. When legacy shifts, it often awakens dormant opposition. Not necessarily dramatic conflict, but subtle resistance. Questions, doubts, administrative delays, technical complications. None of these will cancel what has been authorized, but they may attempt to test your patience. Stand steady. Archangel Michael remains positioned as a guardian over this unfolding. His assignment does not end at release. It continues through manifestation. But your composure is part of the process. Do not panic at small obstacles. Do not interpret minor delays as reversal. What has been spoken cannot be withdrawn. You were chosen because you could be trusted. You were preserved because you were consistent. You were defended because your heart remained clean. And soon, you will see evidence. The next revelation will prepare you for how to recognize the first visible sign that the gift has begun to manifest. It may not look like what you expect, but when you see it, you will remember these words. Stay alert. Your moment is closer than it appears. Courageous soul, the first visible sign will not arrive with thunder. It will not announce itself with spectacle. In fact, if you are not spiritually alert, you might almost overlook it. The manifestation of this massive gift will begin subtly. It may start with a conversation that feels ordinary but carries unusual weight. Someone may reach out after a long silence. A name connected to influence may suddenly inquire about you. A document may surface. An opportunity may reopen that once seemed permanently closed. At first glance, it will look small compared to what you imagined. But do not measure beginnings by size. Measure them by alignment. When the first sign appears, you will feel something familiar yet new. Peace mixed with anticipation. Calm confidence rising where anxiety once lived. Archangel Michael's protection will feel less like distant reassurance and more like present covering. You will sense that something has shifted in your favor, even if you cannot yet explain it publicly. This is critical. Respond wisely to the first sign. Do not rush ahead in excitement. Do not announce prematurely. Observe. Listen more than you speak. Ask questions. Gather clarity. The early stage of manifestation requires discretion. Seeds grow strongest underground before they break through the surface. You have waited long enough. Do not sabotage the unfolding by impatience. The wealthy person's final instructions set events in motion, but earthly systems still operate through processes. Legal confirmations may take time. Administrative adjustments may require signatures. Financial channels may move gradually. Do not interpret process as resistance. Sometimes process is protection. Archangel Michael stands not only as a warrior, but as a guardian of timing. If something slows momentarily, it is not denial. It may be refinement. It may be positioning other elements so that when the gift fully arrives, it integrates smoothly into your life. Also prepare yourself emotionally. When the first evidence becomes undeniable, a wave of realization may hit you. You may look back over the years of struggle and feel both relief and grief. Relief that breakthrough has come. Grief for the years you doubted your worth. Let those emotions move through you without shame. They are part of closure. But once the evidence grows clearer, your responsibility expands. You must decide what kind of steward you will be. This gift is not meant to inflate ego. It is meant to expand impact. There are people connected to your future who are waiting unknowingly for the doors that will open because of your obedience. There are opportunities that will exist because you did not quit. Your mindset must elevate before your environment fully does. If scarcity thinking once shaped your decisions, release it. If fear once dictated your risks, confront it. You cannot carry increase with a mindset built for survival. You must think in terms of vision, sustainability, and purpose. This is also the moment to strengthen your spiritual foundation. Increase attracts attention. Not all attention is supportive. Stay rooted. Stay grounded. Stay disciplined. Continue seeking divine guidance before major decisions. The presence of Archangel Michael in this transition is reassurance that you are not alone, but participation in wisdom is your part. And hear me clearly. As you witness these first signs, do not detach from the source that guided you here. Remain connected. Engage. If this message has been aligning with what you are experiencing, show your agreement. Like this video so that others who are in silent seasons can find confirmation. Share it with someone who feels overlooked. Comment with expectation and declare that you are ready. Subscribe and stay connected to this movement where spiritual truths are spoken with clarity and boldness. Because what is about to unfold next will challenge your comfort in a different way. The first sign will confirm the release, but the second wave will test your courage. Opportunities will arise that require bold decisions. You may be invited into spaces you once thought were unreachable. You may be asked to lead, to manage, to decide. The same resilience that carried you through obscurity must now carry you through visibility. Do not shrink. Archangel Michael's watchfulness over your life signals that heaven expects you to rise, not retreat. You were not chosen merely to receive. You were chosen to build, to influence, to redirect generational patterns. The first visible sign is closer than you think, and when it appears, you will recognize it not by noise, but by confirmation. Stay steady. The unfolding has begun. Determined one, the second wave will not simply confirm the gift, it will confront your fear. The first sign was gentle, almost cautious, like a door opening slowly. But what is coming next will require you to step through that door with intention. And this is where many people hesitate, not because they are unworthy, but because expansion feels unfamiliar. You have grown used to surviving in limited spaces. You learned how to make yourself small enough to fit into environments that did not fully value you. You adjusted your voice. You softened your vision. You lowered expectations to avoid disappointment. Survival taught you humility, but it also taught you restraint. Our restraint must transform into confidence. The second wave of manifestation will present an opportunity that stretches you. It may involve leadership. It may involve managing resources beyond what you have handled before. It may involve relocating, restructuring, or redefining your current path. It will not feel casual. It will feel significant. And significance can be intimidating. This is why Archangel Michael's presence remains vital in this hour. He is not only guarding what has been released, he is strengthening you to carry it. The same divine protection that shielded the transfer will now shield your mind from self-sabotage. Because the real battle at this stage is internal. Doubt may whisper that others are more qualified. Comparison may attempt to shrink your courage. Old memories of failure may resurface as warnings. But understand something clearly. If your name survived scrutiny in rooms of influence, it was not by accident. If a wealthy individual, facing the clarity of their final moments, chose to tie their legacy to you, it was not out of confusion, but with conviction. Conviction based on observation. Conviction based on character. Conviction based on consistency. The second wave will test whether you believe what heaven already decided about you. You must resist the urge to defer. Do not immediately suggest someone else. Do not shrink from responsibility. If the door opens, step forward. If your input is requested, speak clearly. If leadership is assigned, accept it with humility, but without apology. There is also something else you must prepare for: perception shift. People who once overlooked you may begin to treat you differently. Those who underestimated you may suddenly express interest. Some may even attempt to attach themselves to your rising influence. Not all intentions will be pure. Discernment must guide your new connections. Archangel Michael's watchfulness is not theatrical imagery. It represents divine oversight. You are being guarded, but you are also expected to be wise. Do not allow flattery to override wisdom. Do not allow urgency to override prayer. Move deliberately. The wealthy person's decision to correct past oversight and release this massive gift was not about creating chaos in your life. It was about creating alignment. Alignment sometimes requires separation. Certain relationships may naturally fade as your capacity expands. Do not force what no longer fits. Growth often rearranges proximity. At the same time, remain grounded in gratitude. Never forget the years when you prayed for an opportunity like this. Never despise the humble beginnings that trained your endurance. The second wave is not meant to erase your past. It is meant to fulfill it. There will be a moment soon when you realize you are no longer waiting. You are participating. Conversations will include your voice. Decisions will require your approval. Resources will move through your direction. That shift from observer to participant may feel surreal. Breathe through it. You are not an imposter in this new space. You are appointed. A wealthy individual saw potential, but heaven confirmed purpose. That combination cannot be manufactured. It can only be recognized. And it has been recognized in you. The second wave may also expose areas where you need growth. Accept correction without insecurity. Seek counsel without ego. Strengthen skills where necessary. Expansion does not mean perfection. It means development. And here is the deeper truth. This is bigger than comfort. This is about legacy. What you are stepping into has the capacity to outlive you. Decisions you make in this season may shape outcomes for people you have not yet met. That is why preparation was slow. That is why delay was necessary. That is why your name was preserved. The next revelation will unveil something even more astonishing. A hidden spiritual covenant connected to this transfer that explains why Archangel Michael's involvement hath been so intense. What you thought was simply inheritance may actually be destiny activation. And when you understand that, everything will make sense. Anointed soul, what you are about to understand now will shift this entire story from inheritance to covenant. What has been released in your name is not merely a transfer of wealth. It is the activation of a spiritual agreement that was formed long before the wealthy person took their final breath. You see, years ago, in a private moment of reflection, they made a quiet vow before God. They asked that whatever they built would not fall into hands that would misuse it. They prayed that their legacy would continue through someone who honored heaven more than applause. That prayer did not disappear into silence. Archangel Michael was assigned the moment that vow was spoken. Because when a covenant is made sincerely before God, it becomes recorded in the Spirit, and heaven begins searching for alignment. You were not selected at random. You were aligned over time. Your seasons of obscurity were not accidental. They were refining periods. While others chased visibility, you were being shaped in private. While others pursued influence, You are building character. That alignment between your heart posture and their prayer created a spiritual bridge. And when their life neared its conclusion, that old vow resurfaced in clarity. They remembered what they had asked God for. They realized that you were the living answer to that request. This is why Archangel Michael's involvement had been so intense. He was not only guarding a financial transaction, he was overseeing the fulfillment of a covenant. And covenants carry weight. They carry responsibility. They carry spiritual significance beyond earthly systems. The massive gift released in your name tonight is connected to that earlier prayer. It is not just provision. It is continuation. It is not just increase. It is assignment. What they built was never meant to end with them. It was meant to evolve through someone aligned with divine purpose. And that someone is you. This realization should not inflate you. It should humble you deeply. Because covenant means accountability. It means what you carry must remain aligned with the original prayer. If the vow was for integrity, you must guard integrity. If the vow was for impact, you must pursue impact. If the vow was for honoring God, you must never detach success from obedience. There may be moments ahead when shortcuts appear tempting. Moments when expanding quickly seems easier than building carefully. Remember the covenant. Remember that this was born from a prayer for purity and legacy. Archangel Michael's watchfulness is not temporary. As long as you remain aligned with the covenant's intention, protection remains active. But deviation creates vulnerability. Stay anchored. There is also something profoundly comforting here. You were chosen not only because you were capable, but because you were spiritually compatible. Compatibility cannot be fake. It cannot be forced. It is discerned. Heaven discerned you. And tonight, as the gift moves from authorization into manifestation, there is rejoicing in realms you cannot see. Not because money moved, not because influence shifted, but because a prayer spoken years ago has found its answer. You may feel a deeper sense of calling rising within you now, a seriousness about your next step, a desire to do this right. That is not pressure. That is alignment awakening inside you. Do not ignore it. If this message is resonating in your spirit, respond in agreement. Type "I honor the covenant" in the comments if you receive this word. Blessing code 818 is now activated over your life. And as you step into covenant alignment, understand this. When you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or a PayPal donation listed in the description, you are not just giving financially. You are participating in a living covenant to spread God's word to those standing at the edge of despair. The Bible declares that when you pour water on thirsty ground, God pours back overflowing rivers into your own life. As you sow into this work, you align yourself with the same principle that activated your inheritance tonight. This is not charity. This is covenant participation. Heaven sees every seed. Heaven multiplies every obedient act. Do not hesitate in this moment. Act with faith. Sow with intention. And watch how alignment continues to expand in your life. There is one final layer to uncover. A detail about tonight specifically, about why this release is happening now, not later, not next year, but this very night. And when you hear it, you will understand that timing itself has been orchestrated. Awakened one. The reason this release is happening tonight is not random, and it is not symbolic. It is strategic. There are moments in the spiritual realm when timing converges with readiness, when preparation, repentance, prayer, and positioning all meet at a single point. Tonight is that convergence for you. The wealthy person's final words were spoken earlier. The legal processes began days ago. The spiritual authorization was secured before you'd even sensed it. But manifestation has chosen this night because something in you has finally aligned. You crossed an internal threshold recently. Perhaps you did not announce it. Perhaps no one uploaded it. But within you, a shift occurred. You released resentment you had been holding quietly. You surrendered a plan that was not working. You stopped chasing validation from someone who never fully saw you. You let go of something that had emotionally anchored you in the past. That internal surrender created space, and heaven fills space that is surrendered. Archangel Michael's weeping earlier was intense because he knew how close you were to hardening your heart. If you had chosen bitterness instead of surrender, the alignment would have been delayed again. But you chose differently. You softened. You trusted. You released. And the decision activated timing. The spiritual realm responds quickly when obedience aligns with readiness. What was authorized earlier is now permitted to move visibly because your heart posture can handle it. The gift is not simply being released because it exists. It is being released because you are prepared. This night marks a spiritual marker in your life. Years from now, you will look back and recognize this period as the turning point. You may not see fireworks. You may not feel dramatic emotion. But subtle certainty will begin to anchor you. A sense that something irreversible has shifted. Watch for confirmation within the next cycle of days. Pay attention to unusual favor. Notice conversations that carry opportunity. Observe how resistance begins to weaken in areas that once felt immovable. When heaven moves, patterns change. You may also notice increased clarity in your thoughts. Ideas that were once foggy may sharpen. Strategies may come naturally. Solutions may appear where confusion once dominated. This is not coincidence. When covenant aligns with timing, wisdom flows. Archangel Michael's assignment now includes acceleration. Not reckless speed, but purposeful momentum. Situations that cragged may begin resolving. Responses that were delayed may suddenly arrive. Information that was hidden may surface. Do not panic when movement increases. Flow with it. There is also a protective layer over this night. Any attempt to intimidate you through fear, doubt, or distraction is losing authority. You may feel a strange calm replacing anxiety. That calm is not denial. It is covering. Understand something profound. The gift released in your name is not only connected to the wealthy person's correction or covenant. It is connected to generational shift. Patterns in your family line that have repeated cycles of limitation are being interrupted. You are the interruption. The reason tonight was chosen is because cycles operate on timing, and cycles break at appointed moments. This is an appointed moment. You may not see every detail immediately, but spiritually, a seal hath been placed. What was once held back has crossed into motion. What was once theoretical has become active, and you must guard your focus now more than ever. Do not return to old mindsets tomorrow morning. Do not rehearse old narratives. Do not speak defeat over your own future. Words carry weight, especially after activation. Speak expectation. Speak stability. Speak gratitude. Well, the person's phone words are the trigger. Your internal surrender was the spiritual key. Archangel Michael involvement and joy protection. And tonight, timing itself has cooperated. You are standing at the edge of visible change. The next revelation will challenge you to make a decision. Not about whether you will receive, that has already been authorized, but about how boldly you will step into the new identity that comes with it. Because inheritance does not only change circumstances, It changes who you must become. Chosen vessel, now you must confront the most important question of all. Who are you willing to become? The inheritance hath been authorized. The covenant has aligned. The timing has activated. Archangel Michael stands guard over what has been released in your name. But none of that forces you to evolve. Increase can arrive, and yet a person can remain mentally anchored in yesterday. This is your moment to decide. For years, you identified yourself through struggle. You saw yourself as the one overlooked, the one waiting, the one trying to prove value. That identity shaped your posture. It shaped how you spoke in wombs. It shaped how much you asked for. It shaped what you believed you deserved. But that identity cannot carry what is coming. You are no longer the overlooked one. You are the entrusted one. Entrusted people walk differently. They do not beg for space. They occupy it with humility and quiet confidence. They do not chase approval. They operate from purpose. They do not shrink when responsibility increases. They expand internally to meet it. This shift must happen before manifestation becomes undeniable. Because when the second wave of visible change intensifies, there will be eyes on you. Some will celebrate. Some will question. Some will analyze your every decision. If you are still rooted in insecurity, those opinions will shake you. But if you have embraced your new identity, external voices will not control internal stability. Archangel Michael's protection does not remove the need for courage. It reinforces it. There may be decisions ahead that require you to detach from environments that once felt familiar. You may outgrow certain conversations. You may need to redefine boundaries with people who knew you only in your limited season. Growth sometimes feels like separation, but it is actually alignment. Do not apologize for evolving. The wealthy person who spoke your name did not do so hoping you would remain small. They did it believing you would rise appropriately. They trusted your capacity to mature into this new level. Honor that trust. You must also decide how boldly you will step forward when opportunity calls. When the invitation comes, do not delay your response out of fear. When leadership is extended, do not suggest someone else automatically. When resources move into your hands, do not treat them like they will disappear tomorrow. Act like someone who knows they have been chosen intentionally. There will be moments soon when your agreement is required publicly. A contract to sign, a meeting to attend, a strategy to approve. Do not enter those moments with trembling self-doubt. Enter with prayerful confidence. Enter remembering that your name survived scrutiny for a reason. And let me speak clearly here. If this message has been aligning with your spirit from the beginning, do not remain silent. Engage actively. Like this message so it reaches others who are questioning your worth. Share it with someone who is in a season of delay and needs confirmation. Comment with faith-filled expectation and declare that you are ready to step into entrusted identity. Subscribe and remain connected, because what unfolds from here will deepen your understanding of purpose and protection. There is a reason you are hearing this now. The next stage will require visible action from you. Not passive waiting, not quiet hoping, but strategic movement. And movement requires energy. Do not allow old fatigue to define this new chapter. Rest when needed, but do not retreat. Seek counsel when necessary, but do not surrender authority. Pray consistently, but also act decisively. Inheritance changes circumstances, but identity determines sustainability. Archangel Michael's weeping at the beginning of this message has transformed into watchful anticipation. Heaven is not uncertain about you. The question is whether you are uncertain about yourself. Release the old label. Release the old narrative. Release the old hesitation. You are stepping into entrusted territory. The final revelation will seal this message with clarity about what must never be forgotten once the gift fully manifests. Because receiving is one thing, sustaining with honor is another. Prepare your heart. The closing truth will anchor everything. Steady soul. Before the gift fully settles into your hands, there is one sacred truth you must seal into your heart so that success never disconnects you from the source. Never forget the wilderness. Never forget the nights you questioned everything. Never forget the mornings you woke up carrying silent pressure. Never forget the prayers whispered when no one was watching. Those seasons were not wasted chapters. They were foundation stones. And foundations must never be despised once the building stands tall. The wealthy person who spoke your name did so because you were forged in hidden places. If you forget the hidden years, you risk mishandling the visible ones. Humility is not weakness. It is stability under elevation. Archangel Michael's protection had been fierce because heaven does not casually invest in pride. The release over your life was guarded because your heart remained teachable. Be bit that way. When the manifestation becomes undeniable, gratitude must become your daily language. Not performative gratitude for appearance, but internal acknowledgement that this was orchestrated beyond your own strength. You worked. You endured. You prepared. But divine alignment opened what effort alone could not. There will be moments when you are tempted to attribute everything to strategy. You will see the meetings you attended, the skills you developed, the connections you maintained. All of that matter. But remember, many people possess skill without favor. Many people work tirelessly without breakthrough. Favor is not earned. It is assigned. And it has been assigned to you in this season. Guard against subtle pride. It rarely announces itself loudly. It appears as quiet self-sufficiency. It whispers that you no longer need guidance. It suggests that you can move independently now that resources have arrived. Resist that whisper. Stay connected to prayer. Stay anchored in reflection. Stay willing to be corrected. A covenant attached to this gift is still active. The original vow that triggered this transfer was rooted in honoring God above personal gain. If you remain aligned with that intention, increase will continue to flow. If you detach from it, stagnation can follow. There is also something you must remember about people. As your influence expands, some will approach you with admiration. Others will approach with expectation. A few may approach with hidden agendas. Do not become suspicious of everyone, but do not become naive either. Discernment is not cynicism. It is wisdom with clarity. Archangel Michael's watchfulness symbolizes that you are not navigating this alone, but wisdom is still required from you. Choose advisors carefully. Protect confidential information. Build structures that ensure accountability. Increase without structure collapses under pressure. And above all, remember why this began. It began with correction. It deepened with covenant. It accelerated with surrender. It manifested with alignment. This story is not about sudden luck. It is about divine orchestration meeting prepared character. As the gift stabilizes in your life, you may notice something unexpected, a deeper compassion for those still and waiting seasons. Do not ignore that compassion. It is part of your expanded assignment. You were lifted not only to rise, but to extend a hand. Generosity will become a natural expression of gratitude. Not reckless giving, but intentional sowing. Not performative charity, but purposeful impact. The same way someone chose to redirect legacy toward you, you will one day have the opportunity to redirect blessing toward another. Legacy continues through willingness, You are entering a chapter where sustainability matters more than speed. Protect your peace. Protect your integrity. Protect your connection to God. Success without peace is empty. Influence without integrity is fragile. Wealth without purpose is temporary. Archangel Michael's initial tears signified intensity around your breakthrough. Now that breakthrough is stabilizing into responsibility. Heaven celebrates, but heaven also watches. The final declaration will seal this message with authority. It will remind you of one irreversible truth about what has been spoken in your name tonight. Prepare to receive it fully. Beloved heir of destiny, this is the final seal over what has been spoken in your name tonight. What was released cannot be reversed. Read that again in your spirit. The wealthy person's final words were not casual emotion. They were recorded. They were authorized. They were witnessed in the spiritual realm. Archangel Michael did not stand guard over uncertainty. He stood guard over something irreversible. There may be movement. There may be process. There may be moments where it feels quiet again. But quiet does not mean cancel. Process does not mean denied. What has been spoken over you has crossed a spiritual line that cannot be erased by doubt, delay, or opposition. This is the truth you must anchor in your heart. You are no longer waiting for permission. You are walking in authorization. The correction has been made. The covenant has been activated. The timing has aligned. The identity has shifted. Now comes the sustaining. Sustaining requires consistency after excitement fades. It requires discipline when visibility increases. It requires humility when affirmation grows louder. The true test of inheritance is not receiving it. It is carrying it without losing yourself. Archangel Michael's weeping at the beginning of this message was not weakness. It was the intensity of heaven ensuring that what belonged to you would not slip away. Now his stance over your life is firm and unshaken. Protection surrounds what hath been entrusted to you. But you must guard your agreement. Do not speak against what has been spoken for you. Do not entertain conversations that belittle your new level. Do not shrink back into comfort because expansion feels unfamiliar. Growth always stretches before it stabilizes. There will be a day soon when evidence becomes undeniable. A confirmation will arrive. A transfer will finalize. A door will open fully. And in that moment, remember this night. Remember the stillness. Remember the stirring in your spirit. Remember that heaven moved before you saw anything physically change. You were chosen because you were trusted. You were trusted because you were refined. You were refined because you endured. And endurance has now met reward. This inheritance is not only financial or material. It is authority. It is influence. It is generational interruption. Patterns that limited your family line are breaking because you agreed to stay faithful when quitting felt easier. Never minimize that. As you step forward, let gratitude anchor you. Let wisdom guide you. Let obedience sustain you. And let generosity flow through you when the time is right. Because legacy does not end with receiving. It multiplies through stewardship. If this word has confirmed what your spirit has been sensing, respond boldly. Type "I walk in divine authorization" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 999 is now sealed over your life. And now hear this clearly as we close. The same God who corrected your path tonight is still searching for hearts to reach across the world. When you release a super thanks, when you join as a member, or when you sow through the PayPal link in the description, you are not supporting a channel. You are igniting light in places drowning in darkness. Scripture declares, "Give, and it shall be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And this is not history. This is God speaking directly to you now. As you act, you are sowing into souls who are one word away from surrendering to despair. Your seed becomes oil that keeps this lamp burning. Your obedience becomes fire that pushes back spiritual night. Do not hesitate in holy moments like this. This is not a casual donation. This is prophetic participation. As you give, heaven records it as covenant alignment. As you sow, protection and provision pursue you. Step into obedience. Release your seed. And watch how the God who moved for you tonight multiplies what you place in his hands. The seal is set. Walk forward.